What is this game to you?
I was going to start this video off with some witty comment about the game I've been playing for the past 5 years, but I guarantee 99.9% of even the internet has turned a blind eye to it. In the summer of 2014, my cousin Noah recommended me a game that would change my life and my interest in games forever. Not quite yet. It was Growtopia. Growtopia is an MMO sandbox game that was fully released in January 2013, and I had been glad to pick it up very early in its development. Growtopia was a total capitalist manifest destiny wet dream. It had profiting, quite literally building your business, and practically the crux of the whole game, scamming.
Got scammed! He scammed 90 World Lux. You saw that? Oh my gosh.
Over the years, me and my cousin had expanded our wealth and, more personally, earned a healthy $30 worth of in-game world locks, their unofficial currency. Yeah, if you've ever played an MMO, I'm sure you aren't that impressed. In fact, I had friends in-game with hundreds of world locks over just a single month due to either exploiting events or just buy low sell highing until their eyes started burning. The game was fun and fresh with content monthly, and there was nothing to worry about. Life was good in elementary school. And then the creators started to buy into the capitalism. Seth and Humumu were the creators of the game from all the way back in 2012 and assumedly 2010 to 2011 accounting for development time. Then came the summer of 2016 when the community began ramblings about some big media company that would soon purchase the game. Do you guys remember when Minecraft strangely died off completely for a hot minute? The time its creator, Notch, couldn't take the heat or the spotlight anymore, so he sold it to Microsoft? Well, history tends to repeat itself. In late 2016, Ubisoft officially acquired Growtopia, and just a couple months later, Ubisoft began full development and control over the game, and oh boy did it fall from there. Many moderators started stepping down from their roles, like Shadow Surfer, a fellow creator here on YouTube.
So it sort of just started back, I guess right when Ubisoft took over. There was sort of this really weird dynamic between us as the mods and Ubisoft as a whole. It sort of felt like when we would give feedback to Ubisoft, they wouldn't really listen to us at all. And I don't know, that just sort of had me starting to really just drift away from being a mod.
The dev team tried to merge a new art style with that of old, and in my opinion, simply terrible monetization tactics were employed. I mean, what is this, a battle pass for an MMO? I had quit months earlier after hearing the news, and with that being said, I needed a new game to feel good about, to help me pass the time after long days of middle school after I had essentially been omitted from my friend group. In December of 2016, my cousin had come through once again to an 11-year-old Games 12, but this time, it was going to be different. He told me he was recommended a video called Portal World's Crossbreeding Tutorial, with an actual dude behind the game itself.
Hello everybody and welcome to Portal World's Tutorials.
At the time, the game's channel only had a short catalog of videos, but it was clear that there was something very special about it, something really personal and passionate. Portal Worlds was actually already in beta, so many people had either used a VPN back in late 2016 to get the game in one of the available countries on the Google Play Store, or just download an APK off of Google to play early. Being 11 at the time, I was a bit cautious about viruses, and the whole VPN situation seemed too complicated, so really I just waited weekly to check the channel with new updates on global release. And on January 26th, 2017, the day had finally come.
Hello, how are you? And welcome. My name is...
I can't really explain how breathtaking it was to essentially be reintroduced into this genre I loved for so many years, and just be sucked into a new world of possibilities. From the second I watched those old videos, I was jumping out of my seat, seeing update by update progress reports through the community manager. It It was just such a fun way to induce hype for a game, especially uncommon for mobile. The company behind the game, Kukori, had to have known what they were doing. Oh yeah, and about that community manager. Jaakko Markkanen, also known as Jake in English, is the one and only community manager for Pixel Worlds and, by attachment, Kukori. Starting all the way back at the turn of the century, Jake had looked into making games, experimenting with a platform known as RPG Maker 2000. A few years later, Warcraft 3's world editor program, not too dissimilar from RPG Maker, would lead to an iconic modded creation known as Defense of the Ancients, or Dota. This would be the main game Jake played early on, along with other Warcraft games. Becoming an instant success, the custom game brought more updates and tournaments until 2009, where the IP was sold to Valve in order to start the franchise we now know today. In the same year, Jake would start theater acting for fun with friends, helping him gain a lot of confidence in himself over the years. Then in 2012, Dota 2 would release via Steam alongside a massive tournament known as the International, inspiring Jake to seek being a commentator for the game in some way. Unfortunately, Finland saw no tournaments for the game whatsoever at the time.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
So Jake did it himself. Using his website, pawsourcestudio.ucas.com, he would enlist teams from around Finland to quote-unquote increase the skills of Finnish players and give them the opportunity to test their own team. Over the course of about 18 months, Jaakko would host over 30 Finnish Dota 2 tournaments until March 2014, when seemingly the last tournament was run, according to the website. It was later this year when Jake sought game development of his own accord, applying to Kumka, a polytechnical applied sciences university in Kotka, Finland. While studying game design and programming, Jake would continue time investment in his YouTube channel, Pawsource Studio, where he would livestream Just Cause and Fallout games. After a couple years of studies, Jake realized that he really didn't want to be a programmer, but rather wanted to dive deeper into content creation. After wanting to come back to Dota 2 and once again follow his esports broadcasting dream, he switched into being a film student at Staten Vocational College, through which he became able to fulfill this interest. Finally, in 2016, Jake's brother contacted him and told him about a community manager position being looked for at Kukori Mobile Entertainment. They needed someone who could live stream and edit videos alongside helping them develop Portal Worlds, their new game. Thus, he got the job. But why mention all of that? What makes Jake so special compared to all others like him in the brand landscape? It's not even uncommon for companies to hire dedicated community managers for a game, with Paula and Danny spearheading update news for Brawl Stars, or Jay and Helen tweeting for Minecraft. Well, no hate to the aforementioned, but Jake is more than a cookie-cutter monthly update poster or news tweeter for his respective game. Jake is literally a content creator hired by the game to make content on behalf of the game. Not only this, but he is the direct line of contact between the community's input and the output of what actually makes it into the game. Many big YouTubers a part of Supercell's creator program actually have ties with certain developers of the game, able to make suggestions for content or changes on behalf of the community. However, seeing as Jake is a game developer, his live streams act as a line of contact directly from any community member straight to the development team, with a surplus of suggestions made by fans seen in the game ever since. The mining update suggested by Sigi, upcoming animal sets suggested by furry enthusiast XLightX, and other various ideas directly brought into the game through competitions or forum ideas. Kukori seemed to find a balance that forced it to be very interactive between the development and the fans. Not just outside of the game could this be seen. Upon global release, Kukori released a feature allowing any content creator to get a link to their video featured directly inside the game. Regardless of if you had 30 subscribers or 300,000, Jake would feature your video if he deemed it worthy of praise, and 11-year-old Games 12 was about to get a giant ego boost. Ever since I was little, LEGO was a huge hobby for me. If you've ever been a part of the LEGO community, you would have heard the acronym MOC thrown around a lot. MOCs are essentially a fan-made art form using the same bricks as the officially produced sets, standing for My Own Creation. These can be anything from OCs to remixes to recreations. Really everything goes when it comes to LEGO. As it turns out, 11-year-old me was also really into a particular Canadian YouTuber known as Zotzi Noppies. Also known as Micah Mill, Zotzi would make outstanding mocks on his channel, recreating anything from the Call of Duty mystery box to the TNT block from Minecraft. Inspired by this insanely cool way to recreate your favorite stuff from your favorite games, I decided to throw my hat into the ring. Or more accurately, clone his content like I'm currently doing with the tribute to Minecraft. So on March 12th, 2017, I combined my love of LEGO and love of Pixel Worlds into a video called LEGO Claymore, LEGO Pixel Worlds Creations. Despite my crappy 1-to-1 ratio I didn't know how to fix, the filming with my giant tablet in one hand because I didn't have a tripod, and the only 20 subscribers on the channel obtained from my friends or my alt accounts, my video was featured inside of the game. Featured alongside the likes of Pentatonix's Remember, even currently the 7th most viewed video made on the game. I remember my friend at the time, who I began bonding with through this game, calling me to tell me that the video I made was actually inside of it, and we were freaking out. Becoming the most viewed video on my channel by a long shot at the time, the Claymore video was my first to surpass 1,000 views, and it really didn't go far after that. I mean, Pixel Worlds was and is a pretty small indie game. Nonetheless, it meant everything. Under the assumption that LEGO mocks were all I could do to get featured, I kept going throughout 2017. Along with crappy, unedited gameplays of Pixel Worlds, I would continue to recreate weapons, staff, sets, and other iconic aspects of the game in interlocking brick form. By the time mid-2018 hit, I was sitting around 200 subscribers and 20,000 views on my channel, named Pixelogic at the time. Kukori had just come off of a triumphant year following the full launch of their game. In only 12 months, the small indie team had managed to release 16 updates over the course of 2017, many of which were big features like an entire battle system or a brand new player versus environment dungeon. In October of the same year, the company would release the single most popular feature in the game to this day, the Black Tower. Every October since, even players who would quit the game would return to challenge their skills on the exciting seasonal parkour climb. With fun gameplay, legendaries to pray for, and a rotating prize pool each week, Pixel Worlds' Halloween event continues to be the game's most played time interval of the year, every single year. Coming off of such massive updates back to back to back, 2018 would see the burnout effect of the intense content drop, with the start of the year releasing one of their most controversial updates, the Deep Nether. The main gripe from the community would be that the only items added in the update, which were available from an RNG spawning vendor, were extremely expensive and would require hundreds of hours of grinding to obtain even some of the lower tier items. The year would be a time of judgment for the game, as my subscriber count had just about plateaued at 250 subscribers, and I was no longer having that much fun playing or supporting the game. Pixel Worlds would continue to make changes I disliked or disagreed with. In the current year, Kukori would not only make their main currency for over 4 years nothing more than a side mechanic, but also legalize borderline casinos inside of the game. But why after all of these years do I find that Pixel Worlds has generally overcome its issues while the latter hasn't? Well, Pixel Worlds has overall just made side changes that, despite being very controversial like casinos or in some cases completely unnecessary like the banishment of world locks, nothing comes close to Growtopia's never-ending item overload. Remember when I said that Mini had quit the game due to the takeover of Ubisoft and the outcomes it had had on the game? Well, there was one thing I didn't necessarily include, something Seth and Humumu left with the company to hopefully figure out without necessarily including a solution. This, of course, being item features. The debut year of Growtopia, 5 of the 7 major inclusions were essentially implemented for players to craft or obtain items to then trade for other items. The issue with so many updates like this is that the total item pool gets far too cluttered. Meanwhile, quality of life or base game features get left in the dust. But with all of that being said, there's a reason I stayed with Pixel Worlds and not the Ubisoft alternative or any knockoff. Even after my account's progress being stolen by a hacker in 2019, along with tons of vital community members quitting the game indefinitely over the years, I always come back for their engaging updates and core mechanics. They added an entire online marketplace, brought a new world generation system to freshen up the new player experience, and shortly after even began a whole community-solving lore movement, bringing even the most polarizing together. Not only has this game brought me so much joy over the years, but it allowed me to enter a community of great people. It helped me connect with those of new and old, inside and outside of its servers. Rarely can games accomplish this task, the mass collaboration or the sharing of so many memories over stretches of time. Pixel Worlds has always been much more than a game, and it continues to bring me back to a time of freedom and virtual creativity. Without Corey and this tight community of people, cliche as it is, I have absolutely no idea where I would be.